4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey everybody, this is Alex Bennett, host of the Ramble, heard here and seen here on GabNet, Tuesday through Fridays, live at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and I got some big news for you. Our program has moved its live video from Facebook Live to YouTube Live. After extensive tests in our GabNet laboratories of at least 10 minutes, our mind was made up and we've come to the conclusion that YouTube is superior not only in video quality, but audio as well. And then there's the ease of watching it. Here's what you do. Simply point your browser to youtube.com/Bolo Bennett /live. That's youtube.com/Bolo Bennett, BOLOBENNETT /live. And you're there. The player is waiting, and you do nothing, and when the show begins, so does the player. Couldn't be simpler. In fact, tag that page as a permanent tab on your browser, and you're ready to go. And if all of this is too vexing for you, well, just go to gabnet.net near showtime, and the player in the middle of the page will start to play when we're on. We're thrilled with the new quality our move has provided, and while you're there, would you do me a favor and please subscribe to our channel? No, I beg you to. Hey, listen to me, I'm groveling, okay? I know, it's pathetic. I'm sorry, I'm debasing myself, and I really shouldn't be. Please.
We're GabNet, and we've got you covered live 5 nights a week. First Tuesday through Friday at 9:30 Eastern, it's The Exchange.
Harlan Ellison totally insisted that there were no sounds in space on Babylon 5. Watching it for 20 minutes will clearly show that there are sounds in space. So what the fuck are you pulling this out of, Mr. Harlan Ellison? That pretty much cemented the idea of who Harlan was in my brain.
Tuesday through Friday at 10 Eastern. Join Alex Bennett on The Ramble.
You don't think Bill Clinton's a pervert?
No, I don't.
Go ahead.
No, I really don't. I think I think he's a man who let his dick talk for him. You know, I think he's a guy who was pursued by a young woman and should have said no, but he didn't. Now, the only woman I ever talked to that fucked Bill Clinton was Jennifer Flowers. She kept saying during the interview, you know, I really did have sex with Bill Clinton. And I asked her the question, I said, that's not what's important to me. What's important to me was he a gentleman? And she said, he was terrific. She said, every time we'd have sex, the next day he would call and see if I was okay. He never dodged my calls. If I wanted to call him, he was an absolute gentleman. Tuesday through Friday at midnight, The Intersection.
We now know that Trump doesn't hate all Democrats. He at least likes the Democrats who he perceives to be as crooked as he is.
Ah, wait a minute, ring that bell!
I mean, between Menendez and Blagojevich, you know, who he pardoned.
If you like sports, we've got that too, with The Arena Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
There's a lot of long-ass games come knockout round because they have to finish. So you have to play up to 120 minutes plus a penalty shootout. A penalty kick. Yeah.
Finally, you can get hot and bothered on Connections at 10 p.m. Eastern Monday and by delay Tuesday through Friday at 1 a.m. Eastern.
Many customers have seen a young girl in period clothing. Do it. Just say it. I can't say it. She knows, even though it means something totally different. Immediately she's thinking she's wearing rags.
Bloody Mary.
Come on, do
Bloody
it.
Mary. Bloody Mary.
That was my own joke. What? Were you looking in the mirror when you did that?
No.
Catch up on all the shows with our weekend flashback. All shows have the Citizen Panel, an exclusive concept of GabNet. It's new, it's daring, it's talk like you've never heard it before. Reasons why you tune into GabNet. Reason number 29, the Citizen Panel.
I'm saying that he could actually, a good lawyer might be able to make a case that he cannot get a fair trial anywhere in the United States because the President of the United States said, quote, he should be executed. And if you can't find a fair jury anywhere in this country because they've all been exposed to this.
No, he'll never go to trial if he's treated as an enemy combatant.
He's not being treated as an enemy combatant, Phil.
He's basically a citizen. He has a green card. He has all the rights that a citizen of the United States has because he has a green card. Either you want to follow the Constitution of the United States or not. Go to Russia if you don't want to follow the rules.
He said that he did this for ISIS. He had a note in his thing. He had phone call on his cell phone, and he says that he did it for ISIS. Therefore,
okay, so Phil, if you did that, you should be able to be treated as enemy combatant.
I think so.
Gabnet. Reasons to listen every day. Log on to gabnet.net for more. Gabnet. It's talk like you've never heard it before. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is Gabnet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey everybody, how are you? I'm Alex Bennett, and this is the Ramble. It goes from now until midnight, Eastern Daylight Time, and we're live. If we weren't live, could I do that? No, I guess I could. No, but if you're listening to us at any other time but 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time or 10 to midnight Eastern Daylight, you're not listening to us live, you're listening to a recording. My voice is hoarse today, and I have no idea why it's hoarse. My voice is a horse, of course. Yeah. No, my voice is hoarse today, and I think it has a lot to do with there's maybe pollen in the air or something. But I didn't feel like doing the show tonight because, but I always do it, right? No matter what, I always do the show. So, I mean, I almost didn't do it. I almost figured, like Damien wasn't going to do a show tonight. And I figured if I didn't do a show tonight, I could tell Jack that he didn't have to do a show tonight, and we'd take the whole night off for Gabnet. Why not? So anyway, I got did you have a nice Labor Day weekend? I did, and I didn't. I didn't because we could have gone out to Fire Island and spent the weekend out there. I could have taken Friday off from here and maybe even Thursday and gone out there and spent a long weekend in Fire Island. But girlfriend didn't want to go. So we were stuck in the house. And because our friend Jack and Natalia went out, they said, could you take care of the kitty? So we took care of the kitty. And we love this cat. I love this cat. She's a sweet animal, but I don't know. I think this is a terrible threes or something, because there is something that she's doing that's I got to do a few things here. So don't mind if you're watching me on the video and I'm changing a few things. She's very needy at this point, and so she would follow me around the house and she would trip me. And after a couple of days, it really became very exhausting. But I love the cat, and she's a sweetie. And what are you going to do? So anyway, let's see here. I forgot to bring up all my stuff that I need here to do the show. I was going to have my ex-wife on tonight, Ronnie, but her computer broke. Completely went south, and she has no way to do Skype. So we'll have her on next week. So I have nothing to put on here but this, okay? And broken computers seem to be the history of me lately, okay? And a lot of work, too, I might add, more than you would know. As you may remember the other day, I talked about the fact that my why my voice is hoarse. Tonight you guys are going to have to do the talking. I talked the other night about the fact that my Mac Mini that I bought from Phil for $300 blew up. I plugged it into the wall, sparks went flying, and then nothing was working. So I took it down there, and they told me, well, it's probably going to need a new logic board. Cost about $375. I go, well, you know, who knows how long I'm going to live, and if my whole life and my survival is dependent on $375, then I really better worry about how much money I have. Anyway, so we did. They said, well, we can repair it for you, and I said, okay, well, you know. And they said, we don't know what's wrong with it, but we can repair it. Okay, so I left it with them. They said it'd take about 2 weeks. This was on what, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. And I get a call yesterday, 2 days ago. Your machine will be ready on Tuesday. But what do you want to do with it? I said, what do you mean what I want to do with it? They said, well, we got it going again. Okay, we managed to make it work. So you can just take it and pay the $79 for the repair, but there's a problem. I said, what? He said, in the process, it fried your audio outlets. Now, he said, if you have Thunderbolt to go to audio, then that's fine, you know, then you're good to go. But if you're going to use a regular output out of the back, I said, hell with it. Replace the logic board, because I need the audio. I need the analog audio coming out of it. So they fixed it, and I brought it home today, and then nothing worked. But then all of a sudden I pulled out one of the monitors, and then the one monitor lit up, but the other one wouldn't go. And by trial and error, I realized I'd somehow fried the display cable. So I went back. This is after going down there to pick up my machine and coming back. I then get back, and the temperature, by the way, 92 degrees, feels like 103, all right? And I go back in the subway, and I go back down to Apple for a $29 little cable, and I come back. I got the thing going again. The only thing is, my entire hard drive was erased. So all the settings I had for it had changed, and now I'm trying to figure out how do you get these settings back. It's just so, but at least it's working, and it's I consider it my secondary machine, because if this thing ever goes out, my Mac here, my big Mac here, I can use that. Okay, it'd be just fine. But anyway, where was I? So back to where we were. That was broken, okay? And I find that when things break, everything breaks. And then I hear from my ex-wife, Ronnie. Her computer completely went out. Okay, there's two. Okay. The third was Marjorie has a computer here. It's an iMac I gave her back in 2009. Time for her to get a new computer. But it still works. And I go there, and it's just having all kinds of problems where it just freezes up. So I'm trying one thing and another, and in the process, I trash the hard drive. But luckily, I've got a backup. You know, I've got the backup disk. And I was so proud of myself. I erased it. I put in the new Mac OS. And then it asked me, do you want to restore a previous, configuration? I said yes. And then for the next 8 hours, it grounded away. It worked. And it came back, and then I turned it on. I'm so proud of myself. Her machine is now working. And she keeps going, but will I have all my stuff on it and everything? I said, what do you think a backup is? Yes, you will have everything where it was at 5:19 on Friday, okay? And sure enough, it's that way, and she's good to go. Great little machine. That little iMac lasted forever. The thing I don't like about iMacs, here's the problem with the iMac. The problem with the iMac is that it's all in one thing, okay? So you got a hard drive in there, and you got your memory, and you got your logic board, and you got everything. Whereas normally with a computer, I've got my computer, and then I've got the display, and they're all separate. The problem with this is that it's not like they made it easy for you with the iMac, where if let's say I want to just give up and say my hard drive is trashed, it doesn't work anymore, and I want to change my hard drive. Well, I looked up changing the hard drive in an iMac, and you have to have a electronics degree from MIT to do it. And it is absolutely impossible. Now, did Apple think of maybe just having a little slide in the back where you slide in a new No, they had to it's in there in this jungle of wires and everything in this very concise and small spaced machine. Also, you can't, if you buy it with 8 gigs of memory, that's all you're ever going to have. You can't go in and change it. And I suppose if the hard drive goes, you can have a new hard drive put in, but am I going to spend $300-400 to put in a new hard drive in this iMac when it's 2009? So what happens when the hard drive goes? You've basically got a brick on your hands. And there's some way you can use that monitor, but it's not that easy to use it as an auxiliary monitor. If they just have a little plug in the back and you could just use it like a regular display, that would be great too. But no, that's not Apple's way. Apple's way is making it so do not buy an iMac, whatever you do. You're better off getting a Mac Mini and then getting your own monitor because and I've been using one here to put out the programs on the network 24/7 for the last year or so, and it's been working flawlessly, and it looks just like a Mac, and it's fast, and forget about an iMac. Do not buy an iMac, because if your hard drive goes, you're going to have quite an expense. Now, if it's under warranty, that's one thing, but once the warranty goes out, so, one day this thing is going to completely go, and I'm going to have a beautiful, wonderful screen that does not a fucking goddamn thing. All right? Okay. So that was another thing that went. Anything else go? No, that's pretty much it. I think everything else. The mailbox lock broke. But does that come under the same category as this other stuff? Okay. I'm very tired tonight, and we've had this problem with it's got to be pollen, and because my voice all of a sudden got very hoarse today, and I wasn't screaming, and I don't have a cold or anything like that. So anyway, there's that. Anyway, where are we? So I guess some of the things we're going to talk about tonight on the show once we go to the citizen panel, and I may do that shortly, is that the citizens panel is going to have to deal with a subject matter tonight that is a really interesting subject matter. We have several things. The Kavanaugh hearing today on Capitol Hill, which was just so contentious, and people were there demonstrating. I mean, they've never seen anything like it in the House, the Senate Judiciary Committee, or whatever committee that is. They've never seen that kind of behavior going on, except in this particular instance, and it's really, really bad. Okay, so it's amazing what was going on today. And I sat there watching it. I don't usually sit there watching these things because Number one, I can't stand the congressmen, even though Democrats. I mean, most of them are old and craggy, especially the guys who are the head of the committee, and they shouldn't even be. Look, I'm old, okay? I'm sitting here telling you that I think that all people in government should retire at 65, 70. I don't think Donald Trump at 70 should be president of the United States. I think that's a job that takes a lot of energy, and I got to tell you, and I know by experience, that at 70 you don't have it. I don't care what he says. Oh, well, he goes out and plays golf a lot. Yeah, like I believe he really plays golf. Have you seen how fat he is? Golf players are not that fat, okay? Either that or it's not exercise, all right? But anyway, it was really something to watch today. Is it Brett Kavanaugh? Brent Kavanaugh? Anyway, and then the other thing to talk about tonight is Bob Woodward's book is coming out. And it's a book he did about the White House. Now, already the White House is saying it's all lies, none of it's truth, fake news, all of that. But basically, there are some things in here that are... I have a whole article on it, which I just haven't had the time to read. But it basically says... it was drawn from hundreds of hours and interviews with first-hand participants and witnesses that were on deep background, meaning the information could be used, but he would not reveal who provided it. His account is also drawn from meeting notes, personal diaries, and government documents. Woodward depicts Trump's anger and paranoia about the Russia inquiry as unrelenting, at times paralyzing the West Wing for entire days. Learning of the appointment of Mueller in May 2017, Trump groused, "Everybody's trying to get me. Part of the venting period that shell-shocked aides compared to Richard Nixon's final days as president." You know about those, where Nixon was going around talking to the paintings of the presidents. And one of the things that he said here, which is stated in this article, is the fact that he ordered to have the Prime Minister, President of Syria, Assange, to have him executed, assassinated. Yeah. He called for an assassination and he said, because I can't have these kids being killed anymore, and we've got to assassinate him. And he told Mad Dog Mattis, go out and kill him. And Mattis said, okay, got your orders. And then he told his people, don't do a damn thing. In other words, this man is now thinking that as President of the United States, he can have people assassinated. I mean, that's what's going through his just paralytic mind. Anyway, they call the whole affair Crazy Town. And at a National Security Council meeting January 19th, Trump disregarded the significance of the massive U.S. military presence in the Korean Peninsula, including a special intelligence operation that allows the United States to detect a North Korean missile launch in 7 seconds versus 15 minutes from Alaska. According to Woodward, Trump questioned why the government was spending resources in the region at all. He also, another thing, somebody brought up McCain. This was before McCain died, of course. And he said, well, I don't like him. I don't like him because he's a coward. And they said, well, why is he a coward? And he said, because when he was offered the chance to go home by the North Vietnamese, he took him up on it. And somebody had to correct him that, in fact, he hadn't taken him up on it. He didn't know that. Man's an idiot. And now the idiot is going one step further. Donald Trump has harsh words for NBC today, going after the network as it struggles to defend itself over its handling of the Harvey Weinstein story. In a tweet this morning, which I'll read you in a second, Trump said the network is fumbling around making excuses for their probably high unethical conduct. He attacked NBC's journalistic standards, saying they're the worst than even CNN, and hinted at the possibility of taking a look at NBC's broadcast license. All right? Here's what he said. NBC fake news, which is under intense scrutiny over the killing the Harvey Weinstein story, is now fumbling around making excuses for their probably high unethical conduct. I have long criticized NBC and their journalistic standards, worse than even CNN. Look at their license. Well, first of all, I may be wrong on this, but I don't think so. I've been in broadcasting for years, and it was always my feeling and my understanding that the networks weren't licensed by the FCC. The reason they adhere to FCC rules and regulations is because their programming went out to broadcast stations who, if they then did something wrong, could all be fined or whatever. But the networks themselves, I don't believe, have a license. And for him to say, let's pull their license or let's look at their license, the networks themselves, I believe, do not have a license. Neither do the news networks like MSNBC, CNN, and so on. Secondly, it wasn't, it was NBC, but it was, Ronan Farrow was assigned to MSNBC. The story, they say, according to Andy Lack, who is he's going out, I believe he was just recently getting to be shown the door over there at NBC. But Andy Lack said that they had vetted the story through some of the best journalistic minds they have at NBC, and they all agreed that Ronan Farrow didn't yet have the sources to make these allegations, and that he needed to come up with the sources, and he didn't have them. And then they say that Farrow said, well, can I take the story elsewhere? And they said yes, and he went to the New Yorker, and that's where the story was released. But they didn't tell him, no, it's our property, you can't do anything about it, or whatever. And so the arguments are going back and forth like crazy. But the fact is that there was nothing unethical that went on there. Nobody, I think, was trying to protect Weinstein, although Weinstein knew that Farrow was working on the story, and he had his lawyers constantly calling NBC and telling NBC that he shouldn't, that they better not do that or they're going to be in legal trouble. And according to Andy Lack, none of that fazed them. They made their decision based on strict journalistic ethics, and that he did not have he couldn't vet the story because they were all what were referred to as undisclosed sources. All right, and they said in a situation like that we can't do it. Now, if somebody right now, for instance, the president's jumping back at Woodward, and all his people are jumping back at Woodward, saying fake news, fake news. He's not reporting the story or whatever. It's okay in the Weinstein thing to tell the whole story, but in your case, it's not, Mr. President. So what's not good for the goose is not necessarily good for the so-called gander. Anyway, that's I managed to kill time here. So now let's go to our phones. So we open them up, the Skype lines, and I hope that people will call and we can talk about various issues and things like that. I want to show you what Skype does. No, I guess you can't see it because it wouldn't show up here. No, it won't show up. They've got this thing that says ready to install, latest version of Skype ready to install. It won't take long to upgrade. They want me to go to that piece of shit that they've got, which I've tried, and it is just a piece of crap. The new Skype. So I'm anyway. Oh God, let's see, hour and a half I get to go to sleep, or well, I don't get to go to sleep. I have to wait for the intersection to be over with. But at least I can go rest. I can watch some TV. So I'm waiting for people to call now. And here comes Phil Meyer. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let me see. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Hello there, Philip.
Hey, how you doing? First of all, I like that earlier promo you did with Jason and I. And the other thing is, so your computers worked?
Oh, yeah, it works now. It didn't when I first brought it back, and then I had to go back down and get another display cable because the one I had blew. What?
How could you blow the cable for the video? I mean, isn't that an HDMI cable?
No, the HDMI didn't blow. It was you have Thunder, what they call Thunderbolt.
So you're using an adapter.
And it was an adapter, with a whole bunch of different outlets on it, and I guess it had some electronics in it rather than being just a straight adapter. That's the one I finally went down and bought because I took the one here and unhooked it and plugged it in there, and all of a sudden my displays worked.
Yeah, it's similar to this one is a FireWire to Thunderbolt.
Yeah. So I was very happy with that. By the way, I got your control board.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It arrived tonight, just before I went on the air. So I haven't.
You probably got to clean the pots, and you got to do something for the. Well, you don't have to do something for the electrical thing, but it was never right.
What was never right?
The plug in the back of the unit. I bought it used, and it was like that when I got it.
It was one of those 4 prongs, 3 prongs rather.
3 prongs.
Yeah, I have a lot of those cables here.
Well, it's not the cable; it's the female part that is in the unit.
Oh, and so what happens?
I put tape on it, but it moves. Nothing happens. It's fine. It's just it doesn't affect the function, but
listen, if it doesn't work, the only person that spent money on this was you shipping it.
Yeah, those bastards. No, I'm glad you got it.
Yeah. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Scott.
Hello, Alex. Hey, Phil.
Jeff.
Yeah. So I know I got the Mac Mini. They fixed it in it was if it hadn't been a 3-day weekend, it would have been like 2 or 3 days.
Wow. I just don't understand how you blew it up. There was either something wrong with the plug in the wall.
There was something wrong with I think it was something wrong with the electrical outlet for that.
Oh, the multi outlet that you have.
Yeah, and I think I blew it. No, that's not it. I think I blew it. When I took the what do you call it, the
plug,
the surge protector off of it, and just put it directly into the plug, and then everything started sparking. And that was a plug that was put in by some people that the so-called landlord had do electrical in this apartment for us because I wanted plugs everywhere because I need plugs.
Had you tested that outlet with anything else, like a tester, or
no, it was
to
fine.
Make sure that it's not a short?
I should have known there was something wrong when I plugged it in to the surge protector, and the surge protector cut out. That didn't kill the machine. It was only when I pulled the surge protector out and plugged it into the that the spark.
You got 2 engineers there going like this.
Well,
that's what the surge protector is for.
Yeah, but I don't know what the problem was. But anyway, it also blew a monitor. But I didn't. The monitor didn't cost me money. Because it was Costco. So I just took it back and said, hey, this thing stopped working. Okay. And then they didn't have another one, so I ordered one online, and that was it.
You need to put something in front of that outlet so you don't use it again.
You need to find out why it's shorting.
But all the other stuff that's plugged in there works just fine.
Something's got to be wrong.
You
it had to have touched something.
Huh?
You blown up 3 items in there? A monitor?
Well,
surge protector and a computer.
Yeah.
And you're still using it.
No, surge protector still works. You see,
Yeah.
I pulled it when I put it in the surge protector cut out. So I thought, oh, there's something wrong with the surge protector. I'll just plug it directly into the wall. There's something wrong with the goddamn.
There's a loose wire inside the wall on the plug.
Yep.
That's what it's got to be.
Yeah.
And it's shorting. It shorted out so
Yeah.
that when you moved it,
Yeah.
it touched. So there's probably missing insulation or something like that, and that could be a fire hazard. So I would have the scoop.
You might have rats in your walls.
Well, that's true too.
Well,
I know he's got rats on the.
I'm just not putting anything more into that plug. Although I have other stuff in there and it's working just fine, so I'm not worried about it. You know.
Die. We don't care.
Huh?
I said die. We don't care.
Well, of course.
Burn the place down. Your neighbors might be pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gee, nobody's watching the show tonight.
We're gonna have guests.
Huh?
Yeah. Hey, we gotta postpone the show. I just got the documents. I can't talk without the documents.
What's funny about that?
They got the documents the same time that the Republicans got the documents.
They didn't know.
It was on disc. They can comb through stuff.
No. Hold on a second. That's not the main thing they're griping about.
Yeah,
this was stuff. This was stuff.
Obstruct the
to begin with,
thing.
they dropped them 40,000 pages last night. Okay.
Yeah.
And they didn't have time to look them over. That's for starters. The other part of this is that there's a whole body of records, something like 100,000, maybe 1 million pages, something like that, of stuff concerning this guy when he was with Bush.
Right.
Or excuse me, was it Bush or was it? Yeah,
Bush. It was Bush.
Yeah. Under executive privilege, Trump is not going to let them be released.
No, he hasn't invoked executive
privilege. Yes, he
privilege.
has.
Yeah, he did.
When?
And it's not even his privilege. It's
No.
Bush's privilege.
I understand. No, it's his. But they were saying that
He will
had
not let
invoked,
it. He will not let it be released. It was Bush that did it.
I don't
It was
think
Bush
him.
that did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Bush that did it. It was Trump that did it.
Trump did it, but it's Bush's privilege to invoke.
No, he's no longer the president. He can't invoke executive privilege.
Well, Trump wasn't there then.
And what they're saying is, if he's doing this, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be something in there that.
That's all where there's smoke, there's fire, guys. Maybe there was just stuff that was sensitive that had to be redacted.
No,
You know?
well then you go through the process of redacting it, and you do what's right, and you give this committee the full information it needs in order to make a decision.
This committee is only trying to obstruct and delay, and that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Oh, they're trying to obstruct and delay. Maybe they're trying to investigate and find out more about this guy.
For Sotomayor and Kagan, that they used their decisions as justices, but when it comes to this guy, and he has 308 decisions, and that
because there was also some.
That is
you know what they're worried about, Phil? They're worried that this guy is going to have an agenda. And the reason, wait a minute, why they believe this guy is going to have an agenda is because the president said he wasn't going to nominate anybody who wouldn't do away with Roe versus Wade, and he wasn't going to nominate anybody who wasn't for gun rights, and we know that he wasn't going to nominate somebody who, if he gets into big legal trouble, isn't going to let him off the hook.
Right.
I like this guy then.
I mean, there's a lot to worry about with this guy. I think you get a lot of people, conservative and everything else, who have a much better track record than this guy.
Trump could have nominated. Who was the guy that Obama wanted? It started with an M. I think.
Merrick Garland.
Merrick. Trump could have nominated Merrick.
Merrick
and the
Garland.
Democrats would have done the same. Merrick Garland, right? Merrick Garland or something like that. And the Democrats would have done the same thing. Absolutely.
No, I think Merrick Garland was a perfect choice because he wasn't a lefty at all. He was actually
middle of the roader,
maybe a little bit to the right, you know, and would have been a good choice actually.
Well, he's not on the list, right? The 25
he wasn't,
justices.
No, but I mean, he wasn't even given a shot when he was up for it.
Yeah. Now, today was a meet and greet. Basically, I don't think that Kavanaugh got to say too much. This is my family. This is that. There wasn't a lot going on, and I believe that
there wasn't a lot going on. Did you hear what was going on in that room?
I understand, but that was going on by protesters and by obstructionists. But
why is it when people are trying to stand up for rights, when people are trying to stand up for being able to go through a decent process of vetting a person who's going to be on the Supreme Court for the rest of your natural life, that all of a sudden they're obstructionists because they'd like to be armed with all the facts?
They will be. There's going to be almost a week between today and the next grilling of Kavanaugh.
No, the next Kavanaugh meeting is tomorrow.
I think that's people speaking for and people speaking against. But when the senators...
They listed a whole bunch of things, and they go on through Sunday.
Right.
Maybe.
The senators are going to have several days before they start grilling Kavanaugh. And so, therefore, they're going to have all the time in the world that they need to review those 42,000 documents.
Okay, you want to start reading them? Let's see if you get to them by next Thursday.
Hey, I don't even read the newspaper anymore. So, I read everything on the phone.
What do you think, Jeff? Let Jeff talk.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of documents, and a lot of it is important because the guy worked for Bush at the time. And the fact that it was not given in a reasonable timeliness means that there's something stinky about it. And that's probably true. And the question is, how stinky is it? That's what I'd like to find out. And as far as the process, the Democrats are not going to get to throw the guy out anyway.
No.
But we may find out that he's not the guy that you would even like.
Most of the saber rattling is being done by people that are seeking higher office and want to make a name for themselves. This is a photo op, and they know that the guy's a good guy. The documents.
The guy's a good guy. I looked at him and I thought he was one of the creepiest people I've seen.
Yeah. He came up from nothing. He really did everything on his own. And you like Kennedy, right? Well, he was Kennedy's. What do you call it?
Did I like Kennedy?
Assistant.
What makes you think I like Kennedy?
Well, he was more of a swing vote kind of.
He was a swing vote, but basically some of the rulings he made were some of the biggest asshole rulings of all time.
Well, yeah,
so
maybe.
don't say I liked Kennedy.
Even Lindsey Graham came out against Citizens United today, saying that hey, if they wanted to overturn that, you wouldn't be so unhappy. But I think they ought to overturn Roe versus Wade. And I think that they ought to uphold.
Oh, really? Why should
they?
Why should they?
Why shouldn't they?
What do you mean? Why should? Wait a minute. Don't answer a question with asking a question.
I'm going to answer. Our Constitution guarantees life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And when you take away the life of the fetus,
the fetus doesn't have any fucking rights, Phil. That fetus has a 1 in 4 chance of even making it out of the womb.
That's the question, especially.
And then when he makes it out of the womb, he's taking up a parking spot.
Yes, well, that's I agree with that. But
have you ever been pregnant?
have I ever been pregnant? Yeah. Who's got audio playing?
Somebody's got some audio.
Oh, that's me. I thought I had it muted.
I actually went through. I went through this. You know, when I was young and single, I paid for many abortions, and many. I don't understand why. You know, I didn't think I was that fertile, but after I had my first child, I had one child that at 6 months we lost because of a miscarriage, and then there was some genetic issue, and then
well, you didn't have a child, but you there was a miscarriage. You were supposed to have a child, but there was a miscarriage. You don't say
correct at 6 months into the pregnancy, and then and it was never alive. And then we had a child.
Well, then the two of you would have gotten along great because neither are you.
Yeah, really. And then my second child almost went to the abortion clinic. And what happened was they were protesting, and my ex said, "I'll go back another day." And then we looked at each other and we said, "All right, let's have her." And there was this life. Now, of course, she doesn't talk to me and she hates my guts, but I love her anyway. And she wouldn't be here if Susan had crossed the picket line. And
but
but it's a real life.
I love when people say, but I decided to have the kid. What would have happened if I had had an abortion? You would have never known what the kid was.
I understand, but that's ignorance is not bliss.
No, Phil, you've got to ask when life begins.
That's the question. Does it begin? Does it begin at conception, or does it begin?
If you want to make
birth?
an argument for the last trimester, I might agree with you. Okay, but they are not a sentient being in those first 6 months.
How do you know?
Because I know. I've read books about science. I know what a fetus is. Why don't you read about it, Phil?
Does it feel pain? Does it have a heartbeat?
No, it has a heartbeat, but it doesn't feel pain.
But there's more than that. There's the potential of life. The potential of life that you're taking.
Well, then you better never use a condom, and because you don't want to get that whole Catholic thing going.
Well,
excuse me, Scott. I didn't mean that in any pejorative sense.
No, that's okay. I was looking at something else and I heard you mention something.
Scott is Catholic, after all.
The Catholic Church has never been wrong in the past, right?
No, never.
Never been wrong about anything, right?
Well, that's because they use the choir boys and they don't have to worry about getting pregnant.
Ask Galileo.
Yes, Jeff.
There's 4 guys here talking about something, and all 4 of us can never have a baby.
But we've all had babies. How many kids do you have?
I understand.
Renee, you're out there. Give us a call. You got to join this.
Not women.
It doesn't matter.
It does.
It does matter.
But I have 2 daughters, and one of them might not have been here if we crossed the picket line. And
you wouldn't know. You wouldn't be able to do anything. You wouldn't be sitting here and telling us about the daughter you had that you were thinking of aborting.
That's correct.
And so you wouldn't have gotten it over, and she wouldn't have grown up and all of that.
Wait a minute. Somebody's got kickback here.
Hey, man. Oh, wait a minute. Are you there, Jack?
Not me this time.
Yeah. I'm right here, and
Okay.
there's no slap back from my end of the thing.
Okay, he was there.
What?
Maybe not yours. But.
Now, I'm going to try not to yell at Phil because, hey, I'm going to be kinder and gentler with him.
It's a new month.
Yeah.
It's a new month.
Yeah,
if he pisses me off, he's got it coming. Phil's argument about all of this is a very interesting argument. And as Scott will tell you, even in Orthodox Catholicism, they do not put any sanctions concerning a natural abortion, that is a miscarriage. They don't christen it. They don't give it a name. They say it happened. Is that right?
Yeah. I don't know about
I know that if a baby is stillborn, like something happens during birth, they will sometimes bury it and give it a name and stuff. But I don't know about if it happens,
They asked us if that's what we wanted to do, and I said no. When we had the miscarriage at 6 months.
But the thing I wanted to really point out to Phil, you conservatives are all concerned about the life of the fetus, but you don't give a damn about the child once it's born. You walk away.
I don't know that that's true. I'm looking at it from my own perspective, not from the conservative perspective.
All right. Well, I'm
not speaking for conservatives.
All right. Now, frankly, I wish that no one has to make that choice. No one. My sister-in-law from my first marriage, she was a counselor at a women's center. And she told me a very interesting thing. She'd see pro-lifers out there marching on the picket lines Monday through Friday. On Saturdays,
when they were coming in for abortions?
They were coming in either for abortions for themselves or for their daughters. And here is the little messy thing that nobody wants to point out. Whether you say you are pro-life, whether you say you are pro-choice, don't mean a hill of beans, because it will not end abortion in this country. What will happen is wealthy women or women of some means will travel to wherever they can have it done if they want it done. Poor girls will wind up on kitchen tables.
So isn't government-paid abortions just a way of keeping the poor down?
Who has government-paid abortions? And not having the kid would be less of a drain on your pocketbook than being forced to have a child.
Well, the government doesn't have to pay for abortions because they sell the fetuses at those clinics for stem cells.
Yeah, and how is that working for you? All of you Republicans during the Bush administration that kicked out the entire embryonic cell science
not all of them.
in the United States. How is that working for you? Because see, when you people go to the hospital, I would like you people to stand up there and say, I voted for the scientists to leave America, so I don't want any embryonic stem cell medicine at all, whether it can save my life or not. I don't want any, because I don't believe in it.
Renee, if I could, I have a customer who's a medical doctor, and she does stem cell injections for joints, for your knee, for the torn meniscus.
Oh, you mean science has won you over now?
Well, no, I hurt, so I'm ready to get the injection.
Yeah, right. Okay, so you're more.
I never supported not having stem cell research.
Okay, so no, we're talking about embryonic stem cell research. So the drugs.
Where do you get the stuff from if you don't get it from the embryo?
Lots of places.
The umbilical cord, I believe, is
right.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what? Let's go back to the abortion thing real quick here. The issue is, and this is exactly what Jack was trying to explain to you. There are 15 to 20, I have to go back and look. There are states here in the United States that if you can get to a clinic and you can stay overnight and you've got somebody to watch you, you can get an abortion. Now, for somebody who's on minimum wage, that's not even possible. So basically in those states, you are forcing those little girls to have a child that they're not ready for. Then let's talk about the SNAP program, and let's talk about California First 5.
Can I ask you a question?
No, not yet. When you're enforcing when you're forcing these little girls to have those babies, we know that if we don't get her vitamins, folic acid vitamins, that baby will be deformed. Are you paying is there any state out there paying for folic acid vitamins for these women? Nah. Okay, so once the child is born, other than probably about 5 states, you don't get the immunization, you don't get the checkup, you don't get any of the rest of the things that you need, whether it's shots or not, because Republicans want to force you to have the child, but they don't want to make that child whole before it gets to be 5.
Do these clinics have you worked in a clinic, right?
I worked outside. No, they don't let people like me in the clinic.
Oh, okay. Do the clinics have a sliding scale for income?
Are we talking about medical treatment or are we talking about abortion?
Both.
Okay, so first off, during the Bush administration,
this is a simple yes or no. Do they have a sliding scale?
For medical, yes. Meaning that if you're a guy who thinks that they have an STD and you don't have anywhere else to go and you've got no money, or you're a waitress or a waiter or whatever it is, you can go into Planned Parenthood, get tested. They'll ask you how much you make, and then they'll tell you how much you have to pay them for the medication.
Do they do the same thing for abortion?
It doesn't really matter because that money is private money.
I understand, but I'm just asking, does that clinic or clinics, what do they call them?
Planned Parenthood?
Planned Parenthood. Do they have a sliding scale for abortion? So if you're a poor person and you can't afford the abortion but you want it, will they do it for a reduced price?
I do not.
Whether it's private or public money, it doesn't matter.
I don't know. And during the Bush administration, the Republicans made it very clear that they didn't want any government money going for abortions. So all of the 3% of the funding that goes for abortion is all funded from people like me. No government. So when they bring that drumbeat back up again, when they say I don't want to be paying for people's abortions, just look at them and say, get out.
Why does Trump feel that it should go to the states, and what is the difference if it goes? I know some states are going to vote against it. But no, it's a federal thing that it's Roe versus Wade.
A federal thing that was never allowed to be rolled out completely in all 50 states. There are more than.
How can you have that?
You're the one who did it. You fucking.
I didn't do anything.
Okay,
Matter of fact,
Jack
somebody wants to have an abortion, I say let him go. I'm talking about me.
Jack has his finger up.
Yeah. Roe versus Wade, and I had a chance to meet the Roe in Roe versus Wade.
Who later on said she was against it.
Who later on said she was against it.
She found God.
The decision only states that the government cannot interfere with a woman who wants to have this procedure.
And then comes that's all the federal law is. Then you put the state's interpretation in it. And states like Mississippi and Ohio and Alabama and Oklahoma and a few others have different interpretations of that. And including the state of Texas has a really shitty law as well. So why you guys say, oh, Roe versus Wade is all across the country? It's not, because each state has clamped down on the availability of abortions. And it's ridiculous because it's exactly what Jack said, because Republicans refuse to help pay for those folic acid vitamins.
You guys won't buy the multivitamin. Yeah, you.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
See, look, if you're going to force us to have them, you better give us the vitamins that make that child whole. And we know that pregnant women have to have folic acid. That means you're going to give it to them for free.
It's not an expensive vitamin.
No, it's not.
Why should you have to pay it all? You're forcing
because you let some guy stick his dick in you.
Right,
and,
because that's how it works with rape.
Yeah. Well, not everybody got raped that has an abortion.
True, but I mean, like a rape happens every 6 seconds, or is it? It's either 6 seconds or 6 minutes. I have to look it up in the United States.
And look, this is really a non-issue issue, and here's why.
This was going to be the
abortions in this country has been falling since Roe versus Wade.
No. The abortion rate in the United States only falls when the Americans in the United States don't teach abstinent only. So during the Obama administration, the abortion rate plummeted because we were educating everyone. We were educating the young boys. We were educating the young girls. That education took hold. We have a very low rate. Now what the Republicans are going to come in here and say, you know what, abstinence only, and I'm going to say Sarah Palin's little bitch, Bristol Palin, is a perfect fucking bitch for abstinence only.
She's kind of hot. I think I like Sarah Palin's daughter.
So Bristol Palin,
I'd bang her.
It's amazing. In the middle of this impassioned speech by Renee, you're going, she's hot.
I'd fuck that.
And she is. That's why she keeps getting knocked up.
That's not why she keeps getting knocked up. She
like
can have
true Trump supporter.
She doesn't get pregnant because she's doing it. She doesn't get pregnant because she's having sex. She gets pregnant because she's having sex wrong. She's getting pregnant because her mother told her not to put a condom on it. She's getting pregnant because her mother told her birth control pills are wrong.
How do you know that?
Well, obviously, one of those scenarios is the correct scenario since she keeps getting pregnant.
She's getting pregnant because she's fucking everybody that wants to screw her.
No, but you can be on birth control pills.
Yeah.
You can ask the guy to use a condom. Come on, she doesn't have to get pregnant.
Abstinence only does not work. And during the Obama administration, it was proven because we had far less abortions because we chose the high road, which was educating all younger Americans.
You had less abortions because welfare paid for all the extra kids.
No, that's bull.
No, you had less because of birth control. By the way, we've been joined by Tim. Hello, Tim. Tim
will tell us about the space aliens getting all these kids knocked up.
Well, now he's there, but he's not there. Tim?
989. I don't think that's Tim.
Can I make a statement?
I had it muted. I'm sorry. I pushed the wrong button.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can tell you why they want the states to have control over women's bodies.
Because the white men won't let them.
It's much cheaper to control the state legislatures than it is the congressman, and it's a lot less out in the open because that's how the Republicans took over and did the gerrymandering, taking over at the local level.
So I would like to, you know how we bounce around all the time about states' rights, or maybe it's just Renee bouncing around about states' rights. But one of the things we were talking about a while ago was this horrific Catholic report that came out of Pennsylvania. And one of the things that I heard the announcer say was, since the law, what is that, restriction of time? What's it called? Statute of limitations. Since the statute of limitations had expired on all of these cases, he was putting out the presses of why can't we roll it back in this situation? And I'm sitting here thinking, no, let's roll it back for every child that gets raped or sodomized by a pedophile, that there is no statute of limitations.
Governor Brown
should be none.
Governor Brown was talking about rolling it back in California, the statute of limitations. And similar to murder, where there is no statute of limitations, they were thinking about doing that. I don't know. I don't think it was signed into law or anything like that.
No, but as we talk,
he was just talking about it.
Right, states' rights. I don't know any child that I want. So all you parents that took your kids to Catholic church Sunday, I
wait a minute, hold on. Scott's Catholic, but go gentle into that sweet night.
I like Catholic. I like Catholic schoolgirls. You ever see those uniforms with their cute?
Misogynistic part. So I want.
Shoot him right now.
Turn your mic off.
I don't think that any child that has been molested by anyone, whether it's a Catholic priest or not, should have to worry about this. And I think
agree.
this thing should go to go to a federal law and to be left alone, and no state gets to change this. But that's not how it's set up.
The only problem with no statute of limitations on the rapes and things like that is that we're finding out that a lot of things that were consensual at the time are becoming non-consensual as time has passed. Weinstein, for example.
It wasn't consensual the first time. You guys just didn't listen to us when we said stop raping us and stop fucking us.
According to the Argento emails, it sounded more agreeable than.
That wasn't Argento.
He said, she said.
That was not.
No, they're trying to make it.
Hold on a second.
It wasn't Argento.
I can't remember. It was some woman.
It was the other main one that was.
Asia was with the actor, a young child actor.
The boy. Okay.
Yeah, and according to her, he attacked her, and she kind of went along with it in the end. And he says it the other way because there's money involved. You don't know who to believe, and that's sad. I think there's probably a little bit.
Tim, who he was trying to remember was there was a woman that Weinstein has produced these emails from this one woman.
Okay, I'm sorry.
One woman has come that direction. But I have to ask, why? Why has it taken this many women for you to listen to us that this man is a misogynistic asshole and he doesn't
Wait a minute. Hold on a second, Renee. I knew about it long before you probably even knew about it. It was a given in Hollywood. Okay.
That it makes it better how?
No, I'm just saying there were a lot of us who knew about it and a lot of us who were upset by it. And upset by what he did.
By the way, when you say you don't really like, there's something about
but the
Rose
reputation,
McGowan
believe it or not,
Renee,
hold on a second, Phil. Renee, the reputation that Weinstein had in Hollywood at that time, and for years, was such that any woman who would go to his room knew exactly what they were getting themselves into. Now,
really, because we share that kind of information, right?
Well, everybody knew it. People would say to other people, "Don't go to his room; he's going to come on to you." It
boils down to one word: power.
Power. Well, there was power, but there were also. Need I use the term? I'll tell you. I learned a term years ago. Nicholas, what was his name? He was on 60 Minutes. He did point counterpoint. Nicholas. But anyway, I was interviewing him, and off the air, he told me. He said, "There are groupies in Washington," and I said, "Oh, really?" He says, "You know what we call them?" He said, "What? Power fuckers."
Yeah.
And what's
General Petraeus.
No, what?
No, I think he was in love with the gal.
No, that woman was a power fucker.
Yeah.
General
she
Petraeus
was a journalist, and I think they were having
an affair. Power fucker. Yeah. Well, but the point I'm making is that in the case of Weinstein, what he did was disgusting. It was vile. But they knew most of them what they were getting themselves into. It wasn't like they got there and when he came onto them or showed up naked or in his bathrobe, they weren't surprised.
It wasn't like Cosby. Is what you're saying.
Cosby would drop something in your drink and then have his way with you, which is ridiculous when you think about it, because this was fucking Bill Cosby, and when he was younger, he was a good-looking guy. He didn't need to drug a woman. What was it about drugging a woman that got him off?
I'm just wondering, the environment. Wait a minute, Tim. The environment in the 70s and in the early 80s when Quaaludes were popular was everybody was saying, you got to lewd, and maybe he didn't drop them in there. I mean,
no, he was literally dropping them. He was literally putting them in their drinks.
Yeah, but you know how big a Quaalude is? It's
he wasn't using Quaaludes. He was using roofies and everything else.
It's about 7/8 of an inch.
And if you
diameter.
Dissolve it in liquid, you're not going to see it, Phil.
Just like the date rape drug right now, you can't smell that if somebody puts that in your drink. But you know what, Alex? I have a question for you.
You just named from my memoirs
The date rape drug?
How big is a Quaalude? That's my book. How big is a Quaalude?
How big is a Quaalude? Yes,
Is it
yes.
a
Renee
Aurora or a lemon?
Renee wanted to ask me a question. Yes, Renee.
So, Alex, you told us the story. You told us all the information, or a lot of information about your rape. Now, why didn't you go to the police to report it?
Because I was a guy.
And what?
I mean, I suppose if it was another guy, it was a guy raping me, I would have. But if I had, because it was a woman that did it, hold on a second, Phil. Because it was a woman that did it, I'd probably get laughed out of the police station.
So how is that different? Because, so you're not.
Plus, let me say this, okay?
You don't think they're going to believe you?
The sense of violation by a guy being raped, so-called, by a woman, okay, is not the same as a woman being raped by a guy. There's not the same violation, because I've often said that the difference
well, you could have stopped it if you wanted to, right, Alex?
He did.
No, it was
he couldn't.
It was the middle of the night.
did.
Wait a minute, I did. It was the middle of the night. I woke up and she was blowing me, and I told her I didn't want to have sex, and that I was very depressed over breaking up with my girlfriend and everything like that. And I actually woke up. She was doing it. I started crying. You know, and I asked her to stop, and after a while, she kind of believed me that I was actually saying, stop giving me a blowjob, which she had never heard before in her life, you know.
Right.
But so you feel that they wouldn't have believed you if you went.
Well, they might have believed me, but they wouldn't take it seriously, would they?
Well,
Jack, would they take it seriously if I went to them on that and said, "Hey, this woman blew me when I didn't want her to blow me"?
You think that's criminal?
It's still a violation.
It's a violation, right. But the thing is that I was going to say it's not the same violation as the violation of a woman, because penetration has a certain blunt force trauma to it that blowjob doesn't. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jack.
Yes, Jack.
So, I can see why women would want to report it too, because they're going to just go through crap for several years.
It's the same thing about being black.
I don't know about that now.
Can you report it if you're
black?
True.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
that's correct. I'm bad.
Is being black reportable?
No, but I'm short, and I know a little bit what it's like being short all your life.
And if you really want to know what's bad, is be like Sammy Davis Jr., short, black, and a converted
Jewish.
Jew.
Jewish, yeah.
So I can't imagine.
3 strikes.
And with one eye. Society has this attitude that men are always sexual.
To be believed.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm sorry.
The aggressors. Men are the aggressors.
No, forget that. That men are always interested in having sex. Always.
Haven't we booked this at every 6 seconds, you guys, sex passes through your brain?
No.
Not if you have
or is that we do know that number.
We just say that to make the girls feel good.
And that's 6 seconds.
Renee, we'd rather watch TV.
We told you that, Renee, just to give you an argument.
Okay, thank you.
That 6 seconds may just be looking at some woman and saying, "Hey, that's hot," and no more.
Well, look, let me bring up something here, and I don't think we've ever talked about this before, but I think it's worth talking about. You know, they talked about prostitution as a business in which women were exploited, and my argument has always been, no, it's really the men who are exploited.
If she's in charge of herself, i.e., like she doesn't have a John a pimp or anything like that, then it's a business transaction.
Okay, but now what I'm saying to you isn't that a form of taking advantage of a man, of taking advantage of his weakness and whatever? Come on, Renee.
So, but see, you just told me, and so I'm going to go by what Jack just said. We've always been told that you think about sex often, like 70.
Well, that's one of the reasons a prostitute exists in this world.
No, I think women think about sex just as much as men. Have you ever heard them in the locker room? You know,
no, I don't. I don't think women think about sex as often.
There's plenty of them that do.
Not like guys.
It's not sex in
the only thing they don't think about.
But you know, I mean, how much of this? How much of this?
The only thing they don't think about is sex with us, but with the right guy, they think about it all the time. You know?
Well, you know,
men don't sit around and watch soap operas for hours on a day.
In the case of Harvey Weinstein, you know, people say how terrible it was, and of course it was terrible. Have you seen Harvey Weinstein? But if it was George Clooney.
Okay, so let's talk about this.
If George Clooney patted some woman on the ass, she'd look around, see it was George Clooney, and go, "Oh, hi.
Where's the closet? Can we go?"
Yes.
So
wasn't a bishop that got in trouble at the funeral, right?
Oh
yeah, he was very tall, and I don't think he did. I don't think he.
We all.
I saw it.
I
saw it.
What funeral?
His hand is touching
Aretha
her
Franklin.
boob.
Oh. It was, but he's like 7 feet tall.
No, I don't
like
give a
4'10".
flying shit.
He's
What,
not.
you didn't see it? So did you guys not see the photo? So what is her name?
Ariana
Grande.
Oh yeah, she's tiny.
She's a tiny. I don't give a shit. She's like standing next to this bastard who puts his arm around her, and he shouldn't have done it in the first fucking place. And the photo is her standing back like this, going, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" And that was the look on her face.
Did she say that? I didn't see that.
That look did.
See, I didn't hear about this story. I didn't hear about this story, but you know,
he has no business. Why did he touch her in the first place? Stop touching us, and you won't get in trouble.
Listen, I would say that guys are not touching at all anymore because of all of this. You know. Well, I think guys are. I'm glad I'm not in the dating pool anymore, because I would be afraid of dating, for just fear of all I have to do is have one woman accuse me of something that I didn't do, and I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble because nobody's going to believe me.
Stop sticking up for those people like this bishop.
What I'm saying.
You wouldn't have done it.
Listen, I'm asking you this: if some woman accused me of doing something that I absolutely didn't do, I know I didn't do it, there was no way I could have done it, whatever, I didn't do it, do you think that anybody would believe me when I said I didn't? In this atmosphere, do you think anybody?
Two guys that had that happen to him, didn't it? Where a woman accused him, and the guy came back and said, "Yo, no," and then everybody rallied around that man, and everybody's like, "Yep, okay, that's cool. He did not do it. We're going to stand behind him," and that was it. So when you say we're painting you with a wide brush, no, and stop.
No, but you're not answering my question, Renee. Let's say I'm accused by a woman. She's completely baseless in what she's saying. But you don't know that because you weren't there, and most other people were. Who are you going to believe first? Who are you going to believe first? Wait a minute. Who are you going to? I'm asking you the question. Who are you going to believe first? Her or me?
I'm not a Republican. I want proof.
What? Well, all I know is that most of these situations, even the ones with Weinstein, are alleged, but they're not proven, and yet you go, let's string the guy up.
Oh, 70. I'm guessing after 3 women.
Well, now you see you're taking a little liberties with it. Now you're going back on the fact that you want the facts.
I do. I would love to have those women destroy their entire career by getting up in front of a jury and telling them everything that Harvey Weinstein did to them, because it's their life that has to go through that instead of the man having to do it.
Well, I'm looking at the picture.
Ariana Grande?
She's looking up at him. I don't think she's.
Is this the one where she looks as tall as him because she's got?
No, she's holding a microphone.
No,
the right arm is down,
no,
and
you need to look at
her arm is around him too.
Look at the podium shot. Look at the podium shot.
One Lord, one faith, one baptism is the podium, and her arm is around his waist. His arm is around her waist, and he's considerably taller than she is. and this is an NBC.
Hang on, I gotta find it.
NBCnews.com, and I just put in Ariana Grande and the Bishop.
So you don't see the one where she's like taken back and staring at him?
Yeah,
she is
stepped back a little bit.
Yeah, she is stepped back a little, but he's tall, and she steps back to look up at him.
No.
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah, go ahead, say it.
Well, he said there's another. He said something like, "I thought that was something on the Taco Bell menu."
Oh no! That was a joke about her name, and he was being facetious.
He was saying that while she was
that's
walking
not
up there.
facetious. That's racist.
No, it's not.
It is. You just called her Mexican.
Grande.
Dude.
Yeah, you know.
Listen, Phil.
He was saying that when she was going up there.
I thought it was a good joke.
It's not.
What do you want?
Well, you
Okay.
can take it both ways, really.
Yeah, I think you can.
So you're looking at the photo where she's staring at him and his hand is placed on her boob.
Yeah, but her arm is still around his waist. Her arm is around his waist.
His hand does not need to be on her boob, ever. Never.
It was below her
no
boob.
reason
Her
for
boobs. She's short.
Nope.
He's tall, and you know what? His hand was even with his elbow, based on his height and her height. And I think that she was looking.
Can't he find her?
You know, I saw the whole thing live.
Yeah.
And when I saw him moving her towards the podium and I saw the look on her face, I couldn't see what happened, but it looked like something happened. I don't know what it was, but she looked up there and went, "Holy shit!"
that look, you guys need to understand what that look is.
I see her.
You must.
It was like all of a sudden all of a sudden she was looking up there, going, "Like what the hell was that?"
So she can find his waist, but when he finds her boob, because he couldn't possibly find her waist.
His fingers are straight out; they're not curled
fingers
around.
Are grabbing her boob.
No.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
They're not straight out.
For the audience's edification, hold on a second. I'm just doing a little bit of work here.
So if she can do the work and find his waist, why the hell can't he find her waist?
Here's the alleged picture, in case people want to look at it. Now, this is the one where she's looking at him, right?
You're muted, Scott.
Yeah.
We can't hear you yelling, Scott. You're muted.
You should be able to see it coming up.
Oh, there you are. There you are.
Let's go with this. How would you like that to be your daughter?
No, wait a minute. What's going on in this picture? Will you tell me?
I can't see it.
It'll be on in a couple of seconds.
Okay.
Let me see.
So she could find his waist, but you guys are willing to. Some of you are willing to give her a pass because he found her boob instead of finding her waist.
Is that the picture?
Put it up,
I don't
Alex.
see it.
Can't see it.
Oh, yeah, that's the picture.
Okay. So what am I supposed to be seeing there?
Look at his hand, and look at the height of his elbow, and look at her arm. Her left arm is around his waist, and she's looking at him. And Renee is saying the expression that she has is one of disdain, and I'm saying that she's just looking up at him.
No,
and,
he's catching some outside boob there.
Yeah.
I think he's catching some outside boob.
Yeah, but his fingers are straight. His fingers are straight.
And that look on her face, you should memorize that because that's what we look like when you do something stupid.
No, that's a panic button there.
I see that look on Scott's face all the time.
No, I see that look on my wife's face.
You got 3 girls. You know what that look means.
That's the that's the button.
Am I left? Is this comic relief or what?
No.
Well, look at Clinton's face.
Clinton is saying, "Hey, how come I'm like to that?"
Yeah, that's what Clinton's doing.
Okay, I'm enlarging.
That's my territory right there.
I'm enlarging the picture.
Who was the first one to buy Woodward's book?
Kevin was the only one of us who watched this thing live and saw what was going on. I was more upset, really, because I have a disdain for most ministers anyway. The great R.L. Mencken said every successful minister, every successful
It was H.L. Mencken, by the way. H.L.
Mencken, yeah. Mencken said every successful preacher has 3 women behind him: his mother, his wife, and a large-breasted choir directress.
There you go. So, Kevin, why don't you give us your interpretation, since you've got a 14-year-old daughter right now, right?
13, yeah.
13. Why don't you give us your interpretation of this?
Well, when I saw it, and I saw the look on her face, I knew something was coming up. Plain and simple. Because
Red flag?
she was, I kept looking at her singing, and she was doing fine, and then he came over and he started doing the come on over, let's go over to the podium, but he was doing it in a pretty I don't want to say aggressive, but a very come on this way, and then he was guiding her aggressively, I would say. But then when it got to that point,
this is a funeral.
Fuck you.
But then when it got to that point,
she's got, her tutu is up to her tutu.
Look, there's a father. Look, okay, here we go. Let's go over this again. Kevin is a man. He looked at that and looked at the expression on the woman's face and said, I'm going to take my cue from her. There's something here that's not right.
All right.
If it was my daughter, I would have gone up and smacked him.
Thank you.
I just saw the video, and she was laughing. If you stop a video at a certain point,
she was not laughing. Not after that. Not after that. She was looking worried after that.
Plus, the guy said some things that were very sexist in his.
I'll tell you, she looked worried after she got up to the podium, and it was almost like she was squeezing her. He was squeezing her.
If you listen,
I was going, whoa, this is like the minister's getting away with some shit here. Is the way I was thinking.
If you listen to
then I kept saying, oh, it's a Baptist, maybe, no, can't go that route. Can't go that route.
If you listen to what he said in the oration that he gave, you could sure tell that this guy was no friend of women.
Did you hear the one that went on for 45 minutes about how women are bad and abortion is bad and having sex is bad?
Was this at Aretha Franklin's
funeral? It was one of the other fucking Baptist ministers.
They went on for 8 hours, for crying out loud.
Well, the singing
was good. They had to be
getting
tired.
Well, to let you in on something about black worship services, one of the reasons why I'm a Unitarian is because black folk will stay at church all damn day.
And they were.
And you know what, Phil? It doesn't matter what she's wearing. If you pigs can't keep your hands off of us, go away.
We're being joined by Richard Spencer. Are you there, Richard?
Hello?
Yeah. Hi, Richard.
How you doing?
Okay. You have a comment about this?
I had a comment about that eulogy at the funeral. That was trash.
Ooh. See, did you watch it?
Yeah, I saw. Did you see at the end of the eulogy of it?
No. Was that the Ariana Grande thing or something else?
No, that was like later on.
So the other preacher you're talking about that just railed against women and how...
Yeah, the one that was talking about single moms that couldn't...
Yep, that's the guy I'm talking about.
Yep, that's the one I was listening to.
I'm looking at the picture now. If you look down under her arm on the left-hand side, folks, there's the hand. Now, is he touching breast or is he just...
He's got, and if she can find his waist, there's no fucking reason why he should be not finding her waist.
He did. He's much taller than she is.
That's her boob, and that's an excuse.
Yeah.
Why do you keep giving these so-called men?
I think once you're in the bra area and you can feel it, you got to move down, buddy.
No, it's where the snap is. You got to move down.
You know, if it was his daughter, if it was Phil's daughter, he would have jumped out of his seat, gone up there, jumped up to hit the guy because he's shorter, and pounded on him for a while.
Hey, you know, it wasn't like Janet Jackson showing boob. This was, you know, the guy.
No, it wasn't like Janet Jackson showing boob. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. All Janet Jackson did was accidentally show boob. This is grabbing somebody.
This is an offense.
This is assault.
This is.
I don't think so. It would be assault if he cupped around the
he
tit.
Did.
You know, like this.
Oh,
that's
no.
assault.
No. Let's get this straight.
He had straight out fingers.
And I am telling you not to.
Hold up.
She didn't say don't do this. Her arm was around his waist.
Hey, hold up for a second. Phil, if somebody touched your schmeckle.
Yeah. Just the side of it.
Somebody just touched your schmeckle. Your putz. Would that be assault, or would they just have slipped?
Could have been a slip. They could have brushed up against it, you know. And now, if they put it in their mouth, that's a different story. But
you don't need to touch us when you're touching us, and we're telling you to get your hands off. That's your answer. Get your fucking hands off.
It was an emotional time.
Richard.
It was just a song that was a moving song.
No, he has no.
Richard and Jack. This guy is a bishop, a black bishop in the black. I would imagine in a black church, right? Yeah. Probably the church that was it the one that Aretha sang at when she was growing up.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
No. She sang at her father's church. This guy pastors a church in Atlanta, and he had delivered the eulogy for Aretha Franklin's father, C.L. Franklin, some 34, 35 years early.
I didn't look that old.
Well, I'm telling you, that's
was this the second guy or the guy with the tit?
What can you say about
this? Is this Ariana's groper, or was this the second guy with the
second guy?
Second guy.
It's not Ariana Groper. It's Ariana Grande.
So, okay. Good line, Bennett.
No, but I mean, is this? You know,
you were about to ask me.
Just like we expect certain things out of Catholic priests. Is this what we have to look for in black bishops? I mean, are they gropey?
Oh yeah. Hey, I learned one thing tonight, Alex.
Wait a minute. I want an answer, Tim, from these people.
You got two black guys on the panel tonight.
Yes.
And my experience with black ministers, I only knew one that I would say to a woman in my life, whether daughter, wife, girlfriend, you can trust it. That's my experience.
Snap. One. Damn.
That's a little
Now we have another black man on the panel. I'd like to know his opinion.
Mr. Spencer?
Well, we had a couple ministers that were kind of iffy and stuff around younger women.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
I have a close friend, Don Pipkin. He's a bishop, and he's got 2,000 parishioners in his church. Well, and he's a very close friend of mine, and I can tell you, I would trust him with my family beyond trust. Sometimes there are people that aren't looking to grope somebody's tit. And I can tell you that the one black minister that I know who is a bishop, and I've known him for 20 years, and he considers me part of his family. I can tell you that I would trust him beyond trust. And I don't think putting just because they're a minister and they have a church, I don't think you can put them in this kind of category.
Well, the question was asked to me, is this something that happens? Yes, it is something that happens in black churches.
Every church.
Which is a term that I hate because, Dr. King said Sunday morning at 11 a.m. is the most segregated time in America.
But I got one for you, Jack. I got
not
one
if you're
for
Jewish. It's Saturday. Friday night.
The only priest I knew worked at the Ohio Penitentiary. He was friends with Don King and half the mafia members out of Cleveland, Ohio, and he liked being around the girls.
And
then we had a neighbor that used to work as a house mother for a priest in Columbus, Ohio, and she had all kinds of stories to tell about how they'd get drunk and how she had to, be their den mother.
Well,
basically.
Seeing what this bishop is accused of doing, I want to know what's happening with, why don't we go back to the good old days of Ike Turner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, where you
can just beat them. Just beat them.
Us. It's so much better.
When I grew up near Graymore.
By the way, another thing that was terrible about Ike Turner was that he was the guy who literally recorded the first rock and roll record ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So he kind of invented it.
His wife.
Huh?
He beat his wife.
That's according to his wife.
I'm pretty sure now it's all fairly well documented.
Well,
she went through a whole lot of vetting. Did you not see her movie?
Well, just because it was a movie doesn't make it true.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he denied it. Not at all. He did not. He was a jackass, and I'm so proud. And Tina Turner does not live in the United States. Like most very well-off black people, they don't like it here because we treat them like servants, like shit. And guess what's going to happen? Great. The best thing about Donald Trump is going to be all the fucking white people that think their shit doesn't stink is going to be staffed now too.
Okay, let's get off of this line of whatever, and get to a couple of other news stories today, like the hearing for our esteemed Supreme Court Justice to be.
Doesn't matter.
What did any of you watch it?
Yeah.
Some of it.
Yes, I watched.
Yeah,
I watched it.
For a while, I was mesmerized by it, especially when I was cheering every time somebody in the crowd was yelling out. I was.
Why did you watch it?
10.
Because it was on. Yeah, I know.
Okay. So you guys do realize that there's no way that the Democrats can stop this, and that we've got no say in this. You might as well just stop.
I said the same thing before.
I don't think so.
I can summarize the hearing in one sentence.
A conspiracy.
Now, Fred Gutenberg, who lost his daughter at the shooting at Parkland, walked over to shake Kavanaugh's hand. As soon as he heard Parkland, Kavanaugh turned away, raced off, and told security to move that guy away.
Yep.
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 There you go. There's Kavanaugh in a 10-second.
How come that wasn't mentioned? In the.
By the way, we have a royal flush. What? No, it was on the news, Phil. You just didn't watch the news.
Yeah.
It wasn't on Fox News.
No, Fred, he was on Lawrence, I believe, and also Chris Hayes, maybe.
Fred Gutenberg. We slaughtered his daughter, and yet he can't. And the appointee couldn't shake his hand. That's
the NRA spending $1 million to put ads out to support Kavanaugh, which is just makes me sick.
Well, it doesn't matter. We don't have it. We can't stop it. So.
What's the deal with the ads?
How about if the Democrats insist on reading all the evidence into the record?
They can't get it.
One line at a time.
The President of the United States said that he's President of the United States and he's not going to release hundreds of thousands.
No, but there are 40,000 pages they dumped on him last night.
Right, but there's still hundreds of thousands.
They can say we didn't get a chance to read them, so let's read them here.
Well, wait a minute. Phil said it's obstruction. What do you think the thing that happened with Obama's apartment? That was obstruction.
Right.
That was collusion.
All right, it was a collusion to obstruct.
Hey, Phil, you fat fuck, you're splitting cunt hairs,
Hello.
aren't you?
Yeah.
Welcome to Brian.
I'm a boy. I love it when you come through.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah.
You're full of shit.
Hey, do you guys know who bought the first book? the first Woodward book.
Well, to begin with, nobody could have bought it yet because it hasn't been released.
No, it was directly from Bob Woodward. It was bought by Mike Pence.
Did he get it autographed?
No, he's just using it as a playbook.
Doorstop.
Well, I don't think he could have read it because it hasn't been released yet.
No, but people have gotten copies. People of all the media outlets.
Well, then he didn't buy one. You said, who was the first guy to buy it. Well, if they were released, if a preview copy was released, then a lot of people got them besides him.
No, it was actually just a joke. But the media got copies, and they limited it to a couple of reporters to read it and comment on it.
Yeah. Hi, Ray Renati.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, did you get to see these hearings today?
I did watch part of it. Yeah, that was very, very entertaining.
Yeah, I cheered every time somebody else got up and yelled and screamed out. Because what's amazing to me is here is the capital of the United States, where we believe in the freedom of speech, and these people were hauled away for freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Welcome
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Putin's
I mean,
America.
the senators weren't even allowed to talk until they tried for 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I started doing, Alex?
What?
Started singing, it's 1, 2, 3, what are we fighting for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't give
See, and I was listening. So Bill Maher said something stupid again. So Bill Maher said, every time we have an election, we always tell you the worst possible things, and we're always telling you have to vote. Now, the answer to this is, we told you what shit was going to come down if you didn't vote, and you didn't vote. So congratulations, this is your America.
Well, I think that to begin with, people did vote. People voted.
24% of Americans did not vote.
Well, yes, but what I'm saying is Hillary didn't lose because she didn't have the vote. She definitely had the vote. She had it by 3 million people. So that, what happened was somebody played the numbers game with the Electoral College. And that's why Trump is president, and why now it's apparent we have a madman in the White House, if you believe Woodward's book.
They got a lot of help from Cambridge Analytica and Jared Kushner as well.
And Cambridge,
now the data processor for the RNC.
But also, let's be honest, this is the only democracy with some kind of monkey system where you get, that's right, that's a black expression, right?
Okay, I'm sorry, we are allowed to use that one?
Right, Brother Patterson, is that a black expression or is that a black expression?
We're in Florida all of a sudden.
Am I lying?
Well, you're talking about? Are you talking about? Are you talking about Richard Spencer?
Gubernatorial race in Florida. The Republican used the word the Democratic
His name is
would,
DeSantis.
Don't monkey it up.
Yeah, he'd monkey it up exactly.
Purposely, absolutely purposely.
Do you know what the latest poll is?
Well, see, I disagree.
DeSantis by 50%.
I think there's
no, it's 50% to 47 with Gillum ahead.
Really, that'll be interesting. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of time left, and Gillum is there's some sort of FBI inquiry into Tallahassee and
he's
Floyd.
Related to somebody who's he's associated with somebody who's being investigated, but who isn't nowadays?
And Phil,
according to the Republicans,
well, wait a minute, hold on a second. I was talking with Ray. I felt that monkey thing was it was picking hairs. I don't think he meant that racially. I mean,
you have a racist website, that monkey website you have.
No, hang on a second. There's a huge difference here.
What is that website? Something monkey?
The Surfing Monkey.
Surfing Monkey.
Yeah, and it's a picture of a monkey on a surfboard.
An actual
Absolutely.
The word
I hope you know I'm kidding.
Yes, Ray.
Hey, Alex,
yes, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Let articulate.
Yes,
that
I just wanted to
those are
answer
racial slurs
okay.
when you put them together.
Trouble, Tim, is you can't see people's hands raised like crazy. Ray first.
Alex, I just wanted to respond to what you said. I understand what you're saying. It's just I watched it a bunch of times, and he really articulated the monkeying around as though it were practiced. And I was thinking, if I were directing a film or play, It looked like an actor making sure he said the key words in the line. I mean, it was so. It just sounded planned out to me.
You know,
and I'm not saying that he's a bigot. I'm just saying that.
Listen, he's white. He's from Florida, and he's a Republican. Of course, he's a racist.
Well, I'm saying they try. I feel like they did it on purpose to try to get the guy to bite, and he didn't. You know.
He did. He came back and said it was racist.
Yeah, but he didn't make a huge.
No, other
deal
people.
out of
He
it.
didn't say it was racist. Wait a minute. He did not say it was racist, Phil. Other people said it was racist.
No,
Other people did.
Gillum did.
But
no, Gillum did not. Gillum
he was going low. Or
no,
something to
Gillum
that effect.
did not. He was not the one that called it racist initially.
No, he wasn't.
He said it was
Get
low.
your facts
and
straight, Phil.
He was surprised that DeSantis went there.
Yes, when he was asked. He didn't suddenly make statements about what a racist statement it was. Yes, Phil. I mean, Jack.
To put this whole question of monkey into perspective, as Renee might remember, and maybe Ray Renati as well, Friday night on my program, The Intersection, which comes along at about 16, 17 minutes, I reminded them of what Alexander Dumas had to say.
It's pronounced, by the way, it's pronounced Dumas.
Are you going to give me articulation?
Didn't he say, I have one life to give for my country?
No. No, what he did say at a party when someone who today would be a Republican probably asked him, Monsieur Dumas, is it true that your father was an octoroon? Now, octoroon was a Southern expression, one fostered by the French in New Orleans.
1/8 black.
1/8 black.
Mm-hmm.
And Dumas said, yes, that is true. And then he said, is it true that your grandfather was a quadroon? And he said, yes, that is true. Then the guy asked him, and is it true that your great-grandfather was a mulatto? And he said, yes, it is true. And he said, and your great-great-grandfather was a mulatto? He said, yes, that's true. So therefore, your great-great-great-grandfather had to be a monkey. And he said, yes, my pedigree begins where yours ends.
I love that.
Very good.
I had to go back
now,
and get
it was
Jack
a very long story with a very bad
macaroon.
French accent.
We know you're. We know you're a fluffy macaroon.
And according to
we know that.
To some people, because I work with you and I've done country music on the radio, I'm an Oreo cookie, but I've made a lot of money out of it.
Yeah. By the way, Richard, let me just ask you a second. What did you think about the whole monkey statement? Are you?
I mean, I didn't really. I understand, but to me, that was like he was trying to do like a dog whistle, but it felt like a megaphone.
Okay.
Exactly. That's exactly how it seemed to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Don't discount the base of Florida. Don't discount the conservative wingnut wackadoodle. I want to play with this Confederate flag and rub my privates along it because it brings me such excitement. Base. Don't forget about the base.
By the way, Richard, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from North Little Rock.
North Little Rock.
Arkansas?
That's south.
Hey, my wife is from Little Rock. Let's all get together.
You're assuming.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Wait.
Does Trump orangutan around?
Why can't we nail his ass?
I think he does. I think he orangutans around.
Well, what? Now, wait a minute. Now, there's this Woodward book that's out. And among other things, and this is one, if you believe in it, it's true. If it's
he doesn't vet his sources.
Oh yeah. Woodward
he
is
Woodward. He names anonymous sources that say things, and he didn't vet.
Phil, I love you.
Didn't get confirmation.
Well, anyway, here's the point. The part that scared me was when he called Mattis and told him he wanted Assad assassinated. How do you feel about a president that's assassination crazy?
I think it's a good idea.
Because assassinating other world leaders has no repercussions.
It was probably taken out of context.
Or you want to
Supposedly Mattis
missiles down.
Mattis said, "I'll look into it," and then promptly forgot to do anything about it on purpose.
Yeah. Hey, we were talking about the word republic being in the Constitution.
By the way, I just brought something up, and you're changing the subject.
Oh well, I
You're
wanted to get
changing the subject because you want to get away. You want to get
Mommy and
away.
Daddy are fighting again.
You want to get away with the stuff that's lethal. How about Kelly? How about Kelly referring to the White House? Kelly referring to the White House as Crazy Town.
I heard that.
I think that's probably fake news too.
No,
Kelly,
my
I don't
goodness.
think Kelly said that.
Well, okay, think about this. If Kelly is a military man and he saw all this bullshit running around him, it's very possible those words came out of his mouth.
I think a lot of it is fake news.
One of the best stories, as I mentioned
Alex,
earlier.
What do you think about Gary Kahn? Does that make him a hero because he took papers off the desk?
Yeah, explain. Tell that story, Tim. It's kind of interesting.
Let's hear it.
Well, Gary Kahn, who eventually was let go, there was some kind of agreement that Trump was going to sign, and it would mess up our foreign relations. I forget the details now. And he saw it on the Trump's desk, but it should have never got there. It hadn't been gone through the right channels, and he just figured Trump was going to sign it because Trump asks for simple things and usually gets them. And he took the paper off his desk and figured Trump would just never know it was missing.
Not if it wasn't properly presented.
Taking paper off the president's desk.
And how about I mentioned it earlier.
Get rid of the president who's sitting at the desk.
How about where are you getting this
toilet
information?
paper on his desk.
That's from Woodward's book.
Yeah, well, Woodworth obviously, is not very credible at this point.
Oh yeah, why?
Trump is creditable.
How the hell does that come out of your mouth?
How about this other story? How about this other story?
Because.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let me talk. Let me talk. Let me talk. Let me talk. Can I talk?
Why should I trust Woodward?
No, it's your show.
Hey, it's a royal flush.
Yeah, apparently. No, what I was going to say is I mentioned earlier the story. What do you think about the fact that he told somebody that the reason he didn't like McCain is he thought McCain was a coward because when it came time to go home, he went.
Okay.
And implying that he didn't stay behind when he was offered the chance to go home, he took it, and somebody had to inform him that it was quite the opposite.
I wonder if this source of this story is credible.
Listen, what are the chances, Phil, that Trump is a fucking moron, is a fucking idiot?
Because he's doing everything he promised he'd do.
No, but no.
I don't
Time
think
out.
these sources have a reason to lie. I really don't think they have anything to gain.
I think there's a lot of people that lie about Trump.
No, you just said that
the
he's
people
doing.
that work for him,
including
Don't
Trump.
have to.
One of his promises was he was going to run it like a business, and he has. He's planning on just burning the whole country down and getting the insurance money.
Well, the guy had four
Jewish
business
business.
in the same SIC code. He doesn't know shit about his own business.
No, Phil did say something that was absolutely correct. Trump is doing what he said he was going to do.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, the dumb sons of bitches in this country didn't believe him when he said it. Said, oh, he's just saying that to get votes.
No, I don't think so.
Where's your wall?
He's been a failure at business for decades.
He's the president, and you don't even have a camera.
Where's your wall? Where's your wall, Phil? Where are infrastructure jobs? Why is make great America great again not true? Because he's making China great again by giving them jobs. It is true
because I have it on my hat.
No, you have NRA on your hat.
Oh, I'll get the other one.
Made in China.
Yeah, the NRA
Which
one.
MAGA hat are we talking about, Phil? The red one or the one wrapped in tinfoil?
That's so he can watch TV.
It's made in America.
Where's your dunce cap?
Hey, Ray, on my show, when somebody gets a line like that, they get up.
Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. No sound effects on my show. No sound effects.
Fuck you, too.
And the horse you rode in.
No,
And can I be bitchy about what Ivanka and Jared, the daughter of the
No, you can't be.
Yeah. So one of the jackasses, so either Tom Ryan or whoever the actual guy is, got Ivanka and Jared tickets, access to John McCain's funeral.
They asked McCain's wife, and she okayed it after the request.
Right. And what did Ivanka's handler, Ivanka and Jared's handler tweet? What did he tweet?
I don't know. Who's his handler?
I don't know. The guy tweeted, "It's really a shame that it couldn't put them closer to the front to be in the head group." Something like that. It means that they went and they weren't in first class, so they got, this is not what we decided. And you know who talks like that?
Who came up with that? You don't even know who this handler is.
They're not.
This could just be.
Anyhow, if that's what you're getting at. So.
This could just be some guy tweeting, from Ohio.
Probably a fat guy in his bedroom, huh?
Yeah, 400-pound guy on his computer.
400-pound guy.
By the way, we've lost Jack Bishop because he has to go get a show ready. So
yeah,
I hope some of you guys will call him.
You're not first-class people, so fuck them in the ass with the MAGA hat, as far as I'm concerned.
It was so déclassé.
Did she wear a MAGA hat?
Yeah, Phil, there you go. Maybe your fist can sit up there, too, while you're at it.
That is one of the ugliest fucking hats I've ever seen. I mean, I love caps, and I love a good cap like this one. Has a nice, right? But look at that
last year's cap.
It looks like that looks like something that Elmer Fudd would wear. That's an Elmer Fudd hat.
Pretty much.
Ray, can you do Elmer?
Yes.
Ray can do Elmer Fudd.
We bear, we quiet. We're hunting rabbits.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway,
President Trump has made us all better people.
Yes.
No, the fact that
we're now Looney Tunes
and wealthier.
Oh, Looney Tunes. Oh, right. That's going to go so well because the senior citizen rate for medical bankruptcy is going up. Yeah. And that makes me feel sad, but it makes the Republicans feel happy for some reason.
Hey, wait a minute, I'm not a senior citizen yet. I don't care.
What did you say for senior citizens? I didn't hear that.
The rate of senior citizens filing for bankruptcy due to medical bill, unable to pay their medical bills has gone up.
Right.
And will continue to go up. And every Republican that voted for Donald Trump, it's all on you, bitches. It's all on you.
Oh, yeah, and they're going to take away Roe versus Wade, and they're going to take away your rights, and they're going to put you in gulags. That's the scare tactics that you guys have been using since 1865.
We already have Mexican children in gulags, don't we?
Yeah. Hey, did you guys
we have American children in halfway homes because their parents got arrested, and the children get put in group homes.
Oh, what does that have to do with anything?
Well, all this thing that the Mexican kids are in is just a big group home.
Oh, you got to be shitting me.
Yeah, it's a big group home. What are you going to do with them? You arrest their parents. They broke the law.
No, fuck that.
Yeah. Hey, listen, that kind of is it wraps it up. We got some theme playing here. First of all, I want to thank Richard.
I gotta go take a shower.
I want to thank Richard Spencer for calling us this evening. I also want to thank Tim. I want to thank Scott. I want to thank Jeff. I want to thank Ray. I want to thank Phil. I want to thank Renee, Kevin. Hey, Brian, thank you so much.
Richard, right? Richard was here?
Richard was here. He left us.
Okay.
So, because I guess he thought it was over, and it is over. So, And Jack is next with the intersection, so maybe some of you will join him. Meanwhile, I think that what I'd like you all to do is give a nice... What is that you got there, Kevin?
That's my Bigfoot driver's license.
Ray.
Sasquatch.
Yeah. Anyway, give a big wave goodbye, okay, everybody? Just a big wave goodbye. There we go. There they are. They're leaving me like crazy, so let me leave them before they leave me. That's our citizen panel for tonight. Wow, that was a lot of them tonight. A royal flush is what we call it when we get that many people. I'm Alex Bennett. Jack is next with The Intersection. He will be followed very closely by Connections at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Tomorrow night at 8:30, it's The Arena with the franchise MC at 9:30. Damian Chaplin with The Exchange. I'll be back again tomorrow night at 10, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye, everybody.